All right, Coffee with Coach Rodhe. Today we're going to discuss deadlifting and how important that is for the developing athlete. And we're going to look at Black Rifle Coffee Company's Gunship coffee. And we have from 1776 United their I Prefer Dangerous Freedom over Peaceful Slavery Tankard. We just got this one in a brand new package, enjoying it quite a bit. Now, for those of you that might be interested with 1776 United's products, they've got a monthly subscription called the Tea Party, where you get they send you a T-shirt every month, like a brand new T-shirt. So I got a code here. It says Tea Party 19. I'll throw a picture in here. 50% off your first month if somebody wants to sign up for that and want to see what 1776 is putting out. Tea Party 19 gets you 50 off your first month. Okay, so deadlifting. Yeah, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about where I sit on using the deadlift, straight bar, hex bar, and we're gonna focus on track and field and football in terms of the application. Okay. Now, before we get into that, we're gonna talk about the coffee here a little bit. Gunship. This is a lighter roast. Kind of tipping towards the medium scale here. This one, I would say, for my taste, this is a little bit on the weak side. It's a very smooth and pretty bright coffee, but and then there's just enough little extra, almost like a buttery flavor. The bag says nutty, but it almost tastes a little bit. It has an oily taste to it, like a good oil, like there's something. It's just a flat, smooth, bright coffee, and there's a little bit of an oily, almost like a metally, like a metal wood type of flavor in there. So it's an okay coffee. It's not my favorite. Certainly better than the AK-47, I would say. So yeah, Gunship coffee, and then. This Tankard here, this is, I really like the artwork on this stamp is very nice. And this is one of their larger Tankards, I would say. It's very tall and robust, with a nice big handle. Pretty straight though. The other ones, some of the mugs have a curved handle. That's just a little bit more comfortable. This one's kind of straight up and down, so you don't get a natural, like hand angle. It's not a very ergonomic handle for the mug, but that's being picky. And it drinks. It's pretty round, neutral lip, so it drinks like any other mug. Yeah, holds a lot. It's gonna hold like almost 20 ounces of coffee, maybe. Nice and solid, hand built in America. Okay, deadlifting. Deadlifting for the developing athlete. Okay, now if you are a college or professional football player or a strongman doing stones, okay, that's a different story, right? We're talking about your high school, your average high school, and your developing level college athlete here. The deadlift is a great place to start. It's a great place to start in the weight room. I don't think people should be starting on a straight barbell with the deadlift. The hex bar is okay, but I prefer people picking up bags and just weight plates. And you know, we jump right away to putting over 100 pounds on a bar for athletes. And a lot of times people, they just need, instead of doing 10 reps at 100 pounds, you need to be doing 100 reps of 25 pounds, right? Get a lumpy sandbag, bend down between your feet, pick it up, drop it, pick it up, drop it. Do that 100 times, okay? That will be much more effective for a 8th, 9th grader, 10th grader maybe, depending on the type of athlete they are, starting out in the weight room, getting used to load, getting their body conditioned, okay? And then you go to the deadlift bars. The hex bars are nice for keeping the body in a pretty neutral position. A lot of times younger athletes, they don't have the strength to keep C-spine, you know, to let their hips and their butt hinge backward right from the start of the position. So they're okay. They are a storage monstrosity, though. I don't think I'll ever purchase a hex bar and put it in my weight room. I just don't. I don't spend the time with the deadlift. We'll get into this too, but I don't spend the time with the deadlift to really need a hex bar, and they're horrible to store. They take up so much space. They're really awkward. Unless they're sitting on the floor, they're awkward in any other space, any other angle, any other, you lean them against the wall, and they're really wide, and they got the handles sticking out. It's a three-dimensional shape. So I would really make sure you want one before you put it in your gym, okay, a hex bar. When you're deadlifting, you want that thing high off the ground, okay? You want them off blocks, or you're going to want to put a large plate on, an Olympic-sized plate for the athlete. Don't put 25s or 10s on and have it down low. You want that thing up just below knee height, where they're going to be pulling every other bar, right? So if you don't have light kilo plates or light like bumper plates, 10-pound, 20-pound bumpers, get some blocks to use with your iron plates to get that bar up off the ground. That's very important. Now, don't just throw people into doing deadlift without also getting some back extension, reverse hyper, really getting a flexible, responsive posterior chain. All those things are critical in getting the athlete moving properly, getting all the muscles firing properly, having them balanced, and understanding how to take load on their body before you do the deadlift. Okay, it's the entry exercise, and people just throw them on there. No. Athletes need at least a month to 6 weeks of developing exercise as new lifters before you put them on that barbell. Okay. Now, as let's say you start doing deadlifts, and you're sophomore, junior in high school, right? And let's say you're getting up to 200 pounds in the bar, maybe 300 pounds. I would say, based on the size of the athlete, anywhere between 200 pounds and 400 pounds for males. Okay, women, it's really going to depend on the quality of the athlete, but you're talking anywhere over 100 pounds for a deadlift is strong enough to start going to other exercises as well. Okay. Now, there's not a whole lot in the sporting world that the deadlift is going to help you with, unless you're a football player and you get down in a three-point stance and you have to stand up and while pulling somebody up, right? Pulling somebody up out of there, off the ground. There's not a whole lot of specificity there. Strongmen picking up stones, that's kind of a little bit different, right? But in terms of track and field athletes, football athletes, certainly basketball, volleyball, it doesn't apply very much. So you use the exercise to start understanding weight room etiquette, your body and loads, and what variable load sets means, and that kind of stuff. But once you've got an idea and the athlete's comfortable in the weight room, you got to move them on to squats. Okay, you got to do jump training, not plyometrics. Plyometrics and jump training are two different things. Jump training, start them on back squats and front squats. Front squats are highly ignored in the grassroots level of weightlifting. Front squats are fantastic for any sport where you are front loaded in your activity. Okay, blocking, hitting, striking, any of those, it's fantastic. Now, so as the athlete gets into that 300 to 400 pound range, maybe 250 area, start transitioning them off. There are very, very few circumstances where an athlete is going to need a 500, 600, 700 pound deadlift to make them better in their sport, make them better in their event. Okay, meatheads love it because you're strong, right? You're strong in the deadlift. That's great. Is it translating to your sport though? Okay, and we're talking about the difference here of being strong in the weight room and then using weight room exercises to increase your performance on the field, okay, or in the circle. At a certain point, the deadlift gives you diminishing returns, okay? So right around those earlier benchmarks, you need to start getting the squat. A 400-pound squat will do a lot more for you in the sporting world than a 400-pound deadlift, okay? And ultimately, I would argue that most people are going to execute a heavy squat better than they're going to execute a heavy deadlift. All right. The deadlift can be a deceptive exercise because a lot of people think they can just pull up as much weight as they can, but they have no idea how to actually move their body, okay? If you are not a very competent squatter and you're not a very good runner, then you have no business trying to max out how much you can deadlift, okay? Just because there's less coordination involved, less muscle groups, doesn't mean it's an easier exercise, okay? It's very deceptive. A lot of ways, the way that, you know, when you have to learn how to breathe and you have to learn how to walk and good posturology before you do any real lifting. With the deadlift, before you max out the deadlift, you have a lot to learn about how to properly engage your muscles, how to properly hold your core and move your body to get a proper max deadlift and not hurt yourself, okay? It's not worth going too heavy. If you're a lifting coach, you're a high school coach, do not let those athletes pull as much as they want. You do enough to get confident, and then you move on to squats. Now, I suppose deadlifting has its place even at the university level, at the college level, but I am going to say for throwers, for the explosive athlete, deadlifting should be only used in the conditioning phase, early in the off season, and it should be kept to high reps, moderate weight loads to make sure the athletes are fit and strong in their low backs, and their hips, and their hamstrings, and fit enough to continue on with heavier training. That's the role of deadlifting at the university level and above for track and field athletes, football players, explosive strikers. That was a pretty decent episode on deadlifting for Coffee with Coach Rodhe. We had the Gunship coffee, and I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Tankard from 1776 United. Until next time, keep your beans whole and your coffee fresh.